if you ask anyone what is the most Russian drink ever, everyone will have exactly the same answer and will tell you it's vodka. Now, if you ask one of your Russian friends, he will think a bit, but then he'll say, the most Russian drink will be Kvass. Okay, this one is a flavored one, but anyway. So you're like, okay, never tried that. You go to a Russian shop, or even better, you are in Russia. You ask for a glass of it, or you buy a bottle, and then they give you this type of drink, colored. You think it's Coke. You have a sip. And you're like, my God, what the hell is that? And this, my friends, is Kvass. So, what is Kvass exactly? Kvass is a fermented drink, like slightly fermented, like kombucha, for example, or beer, let's say, made out of bread. Exactly. Rye bread. This has maybe 1% of alcohol. It is one of the oldest drinks that you can actually find in Russia. So it's at least 1,000 years old. The word itself actually was used for the first time in the primary chronicles, which, if you don't know what it is, it's a book that compiles the history of the Kievan Rus between around 850 to, I don't know, 1100. This drink was also extremely famous because it is known that it was drank not only by the poor people, but also by the Tsars. So now, how do we prepare it? So, this is what exactly you will need for the recipe and my interpretation of medieval Kvass. So, not modern again. So, water. Not mineral water. If you can actually just have filtered water, that's enough. From the tap, just with a filter, that's it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Then, the normal recipes will tell you to actually go and buy Russian black bread. The black bread that we're having now, the modern one, it contains molasses, it contains maltose, I mean, a lot of things that were not present in medieval times. So, for me, the best solution here is normal, 100% rye flour bread, without any sugar, without anything. I have a good baker who's making it. If you can actually find it or do it yourself, even better. But yeah, very, very rustic bread, 100% rye. That's it. Yeast. I'm using fresh yeast in that case. You don't need to use fresh yeast. I mean, the best thing that we can use is maybe barm, foam from beer and all that kind of stuff. Or, of course, a sourdough starter. That is also a possibility. Still, it's more convenient for me to actually use fresh yeast. You can use dry yeast. I mean, the yeast thing it really depends to you. Barm being very difficult to find, and even if I'm making bread, a sourdough starter is not that great, so I didn't do it. So if you have a sourdough starter, use it. I think it might be also good. It depends. And the last thing, the sugar component. Modern recipes will tell you to use sugar, and then you can add or fruits or raisins, a lot of raisins, or even, what's it called, a little bit of honey. Because we are in medieval times, sugar was very, very expensive, but they had honey. So I reckon honey will actually replace the sugar content, but that's pretty much it. And then a jar, but the jar is for the fermentation process, etc. Now, first things first, the easy part, just get yourself, get yourself a huge pot, put all your water in it. Like I said, I'm doing 1.5 liters. First, and then 3 liters, or 3 liters, let's do it like that. 3 liters of water, that'd be enough. I don't know where there's like a... Alright, now all the water is in the pot. All right, so this should be your setup. In the back, the water boiling. In the front, your bread trying to be, this stage, by the way, you can put also raisins and all that kind of things because we are making what I will call a more medieval, again, type of drink. Just let it sit here for at least 3 to 5 hours, 10 hours, depends. But reckon at least 3 to 5. So let's wait. All right, now, if you have done everything properly, you'll have something very weird now that smells like feet. But anyway, so now the thing is, in a container, a glass container, puts in, okay, I put around 150 grams of honey in it. It's just because, like I said, honey seems to be better for that. Now we have to fish everything that's in there, put it in the jar with the honey, fresh yeast, but that we'll see that in a second. But at least let's put that in. Let's just be careful. And I put shit everywhere. It's fine. Happens. There we go. This is for the first batch. Yeah, I put some water everywhere. Okay, it's a mess. It's fine. Now, don't fill it in completely. This I will do a second batch. This one is the one for actually watching. You have the honey in it. Now, just put the fresh yeast. The fresh yeast, I just put a little bit of it, like 15 grams. Should be more than enough for that. I think it may be maybe it's a bit too much. I don't know. But anyway, we have what? Maybe a liter here. Let's put a bit more. Yeah, maybe a liter and a half. So leave always a little bit of gap, air, because now it has to ferment. At this stage, again, you can add raisins, lemons, I think also apples, because they were using that. Here we're doing a more traditional one. Close it. Of course, before, I hope you actually wash the jar, sanitize it properly and everything. This will ferment, and then we will actually move all that to another container in a couple of days. So, wait. Let's just move it around so it gets actually acquainted and mixed together. And of course, leave it in a... There we go. All right. And now just leave it in a very, hot place, because then the yeast will eat the sugar and the yeast will be happy. There we go. So now for the last step, now we have to wait 2 days. All right. Now, it's been what? A couple of days. Everything has fermented. So, as you can see, the color is completely off compared from what we had actually before. But this is actually also very normal. Thinking about that, we don't have molasses and all that kind of stuff. If everything went to plan, it did. It is a fermented drink, so if I pop it up, let's hope you will hear it. Oof. A lot of CO2 and everything. Maybe I over-exaggerated on the what is it called? On the yeast, but we'll see. The point is it is an experiment, so it's to create. We're gonna filter that. I'm gonna clean this jar because I only have one jar, so I will re-clean it, and from there we'll just fridge it. So for that, easy process. And underneath that, there we go. See that? So this is why maybe I over-exaggerated the yeast. So, okay, let me put this on the side. Here, I'm going to clean this up. Here we have our nice cloth that I'm going to get rid of later. Now, everything that we have left is the drink. Now that the kvass is ready, before drinking it, let's talk a little bit about Slavic mythology. Slavic mythology is actually, in the European mythologies, the less known even by Slavic people themselves. And you can find in street names, all the works, beers, I'll explain that later, a lot of reference to actually this prior mythology. So instead of also giving you, what the pantheon is, all the gods, list them, and talk about them. Now, what I really want to do is give a nice overview of what it is, what this consists of, what are the main important things. And anyway, if I want to go into details and everything, I need at least 3 to 5 hours to explain everything in details. Slavic people came from a tribe. I'll put some images and everything. From a tribe from Eastern Europe that existed at least around, I think, 100 before Christ. And then migrated from the region where they were to the rest of Central and Eastern Europe. And from there, you had all the countries that we know as Slavic countries, which goes more or less on the map, I'll show you, from Czech Republic to Russia, more or less, and north to south, without going to the Nordic countries. So those are actually the people. They had the same language before, the Proto-Slavic, and the same religion. Like every religion at the time, the main purpose was actually to describe what they couldn't understand, to make it, understandable for them. So the universe, the sky, the nature, and everything, it was magical. So, boom, religion. It all started very easily with nothingness. From this nothingness, a golden egg appeared. And from this golden egg appeared the first primal god, Rod. He then created love, with love his wife, Lada, and together they created everything in the universe with our earth. They had children, and those children were then in charge, more or less, of earth, and Rod, because he was the all cosmic, all knowing and everything, let them do it, and it was not his business anymore. They had a son, Svarog, and he actually finished where we were living, Earth. And by finishing Earth, he also installed around Earth the 12 pillars that will maintain the sky above, actually, the ground. He also created the ocean and, most importantly, the celestial tree, which refers also to, the tree is a very known symbol in a lot of mythologies, where you have this big tree with on top the celestial, the middle that will be earth and everything that's on earth, and within the ground, the roots, which will be everything that's on the underworld. So the world of the death. Actually, like also a lot of mythology, the world of the death was not a creepy place for the Slavic at this time. It was eternal summer, everything was green, a nice place to live. So yeah, this is the main thing that happens. Of course, he had brothers and sisters. There was a lot of other main divinities that actually we might talk also about them, because some of them are actually very important. But yeah, this is on the pantheon side and on the creation side of the universe. Then you also have to remember that in the mythology, there's, like I said, the pantheon, all the gods on one hand, and everything that is more on animistic. Okay, some of those creatures that you may also find, and we'll talk about that in a minute, in things that you can actually see in TV shows, etc. Now, let's still give you a little list of the most important divinities that you had and that are used a lot, okay, that are still known nowadays. You will have first, like I mentioned before, Perun, god of thunder, mighty axe, very comparable to Thor. Perun was known to live, in this mythical, celestial, tree. He was living in the branches of this tree. And this is also why a lot of archaeological finds actually found temples for him on always high ground. Then you have Dashborg, the giving god. Literally, it means that. He was known also for, strangely enough, fire and rain. And this is something that you see a lot also in Slavic deities. That is very common also in Celtic deities, is that one will not have a specific role sometimes. They will have several different roles. So he was the patron of heating fire. You will pray for him that the fire will actually last until the end of winter, and also that he will give life to the crops during summer. Then you have Veles. This is also well known everywhere in all Slavic tribes, and he is known to be the god of magic. He is also a god of nature, of commerce, strangely enough, but also he has some attributes like Loki for mischief. That's because he is also a shapeshifter. So yeah, like I told you, weird. You have a lot of things just for one guy. Also very known, a dual god. I mean, two different gods, but representing duality. Belobog means literally white god, god of good and sun, and Chernobog, gods of darkness. I mean, it's a black god, literally. So, and of night. Again, very few informations on those, but they are present, and they are also now, I mean, Chernobog is one of the most present now in pop culture, but we'll get to that. Then again, just to, because we already talked about him, about Svarog, which is god of celestial fire. Sorry, I had to look at my notes. And the blacksmith. So again, he's like this, also Hephaistos in Greek mythology is more or less the same type of god. And yeah, I mean, nothing much more to say about him. This is just, like I said, a very quick introduction of some gods named, and some of them you already heard. One last one, because it's kind of important later on. Radagast, that's, again, you know, thanks to Lord of the Rings, god of war. The other part of this mythology is not only the god, but also a spirit part, because they actually believed in spirits, and this you can actually find a lot everywhere. For the forest, you will have the leshi. For the water, you will have the rusalka. Some also will say the vodnik, even if some consider it is just a creature. The spirit of the house, domovoi, etc., etc. And of course, from all of those, one of the also main known, sometimes considered as a divinity, sometimes only just considered as a small witch of the forest, the Baba Yaga. And this was known to be, that was, the main beliefs of what they had. And you can see actually more and more of them in a lot of daily things. First thing, I live in Czech Republic. And in Czech Republic, you will have a metro station that will be called Perunova. That's, I suppose, again, finding information about that is a bit more complicated, not speaking Czech, but that might actually come from the name Perun. Another neighborhood also, Kolovrati, that might come also from the term Kolovrat, which is a pagan symbol of actually those times. The god Radagast, that's I mentioned prior. You can see him in, of course, Lord of the Rings, which is just Tolkien just took the name and made it one of the three most important mages. But you can also find it for the name of a beer. If you consider, of course, now a huge popularity of first the Witcher games and now the TV show on Netflix, The Witcher is written, first there are books written by a Polish writer that is very heavily inspired by actually Slavic mythology. So you will actually see also the vodnik there. You can find there the leshi, rusalka, if I'm not mistaken. And of course the strigoi, which is more or less a vampire. So yeah, also very popular and also based on what I said, Slavic folklore / mythology. But now if you continue, you'll have also American gods, one of the main characters being Chernobog, the black god. Continuing this path, you have Netflix, one of the new show, Shadow and Bone, the Grisha trilogy, based on books that are in a fictional Russian-ish country, with one of the main protagonists being, this is debatable, some say it is based on Koshi the Immortal, one again of part of the Slavic mythology, or you can actually see a reincarnation more or less in human beings of two gods, one being Chernobog with the, let's say, dark evil guy, and one being Belobog with the nice women playing, goddess almost of light. So, yeah, you have that. If you continue also on this path, you have Perun Interactive, I think is the name, a video game company from Czech Republic that's made Hobo Tough Life. Again, mentioning this. Did I mention Baba Yaga? Yeah. Of course, also the Baba Yaga that is mentioned in The Last Hellboy, where you see her in her house with on chicken legs and this representation of the sorceress that she is. But you can also hear the name Baba Yaga that is actually said in John Wick, the first one, where he is called by the Russian mob Baba Yaga. I mean, a bit weird, but still part of the folklore. So yeah, there is, I think, at some point, because Greek mythology, Egyptian mythology, especially Viking mythology, are overly used in cinema and TV shows and everything, I think to give this illusion to go to something new, I think there will be a rise at some points also of maybe Slavic mythology coming more and more in this. Like I said, to just give you this illusion that now at least you have a very small and basic introduction of it. Of course, I think especially the Baba Yaga, that is a creature that I love personally. This might actually be, in a future episodes that will just be for her. So yeah, we'll see about that. Now that we have done with the whole mythology and folklore thing, let's go to the tasting. Time to try. So, it's been in the fridge for quite some time. It smells like honey. Honestly, maybe I put way too much honey in it. Anyway, let's see. Let's hope it tastes at least good, and then we'll see. Yeah, it smells like bread and honey, actually. Yeah. Okay. It's a bit sweet. No rye. Yeah, doesn't taste like rye at all. I'm surprised, actually. No. Nope. The CO2 is almost gone. There's, CO2, I don't know, but there's no more, it's not fizzy anymore. It's very, very flat now. It's a soft drink, so, I mean, it's not bad. Is it Kvass? I mean, the one that I know, that's from the bottled one? Not really. Is it the one that they might have done in the medieval ages? Maybe. Sadly, like I said, no infos about it. It's a good beverage. I don't think it's worth the trouble, actually, to have this whole fermentation process for this result. It's not bad. It's, like I said, it's a bit sweet. But you don't taste the bread in it, which is the main problem. I mean, the rye. It's a bit fizzy. It's a bit. Okay, so I will try to do even more and keep this video updated in case if I have something a bit better. Maybe it's also the recipe that I tried. It was also for me a bit more fun that we do it actually together. And for the first try, so at least I know if I'm in the right direction. Yeah, it's not bad. At least that. It's really drinkable and even enjoyable. It's for a hot summer. It's not bad. So yeah, anyway, thank you for watching the whole thing. If you like, please hit the subscribe button, like the video, and yeah, I will try to make more video more often now. Yeah, thank you very much. See you next time. Bye-bye.